Good afternoon. Welcome to the June 27th, 2024 regular Code Enforcement Board meeting in Seminole County. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Can we start with the clerk calling the roll call, please?
Dennis Warren.
Here.
Dudley Bates.
Here.
Kevin Ross Andino. Mike Sinan.
Here.
Craig Davis.
Here.
Catherine Townsend.
Here.
Thank you. And if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you're going to be testifying today, remain standing while we swear you in. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if you're going to be testifying, remain standing, hold up your right hand so the clerk can swear you in, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
Thank you. And I have a little bit of information to share, but before I do that, I'd like to ask the board if we can revise the agenda somewhat and take those cases where the respondents are present today in that order, followed by cases where they're not present, and that would be starting with item 1 and 2, case number on page 1 and 2, case number 24-45 and 24-46 CEB Daniel Shaw, to be followed by item number 3, that's case number 24-47, CEB Simon Pugh, that's on page 2, followed by item 4, 24-53, CEB, that's Andre Lancaster, on page 3. Let me catch up here. Sorry, give me one moment. Okay, and then the next two cases, the respondent is not here. So we would then follow up by item number 7, case number 2461, and item number 8, 24-62 CEB, the Home Fund, Inc. is the respondent. And lastly, item 9, case number 24-20 CEB, Barbara Fredericks, and that can be found on, page 6.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Motion by Mr. Sinan and second by Mr. Bates to accept the revised agenda as stated. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So that's what we do. So before we get started with the first case, I'd like to just read a little bit of information. It'll take me just a moment. Good afternoon and welcome to the June 27, 2024 hearing of the Seminole County Code Enforcement Board. Mr.
I like that I'm late.
Yeah, Mr. Ross is joining us.
No parking.
Before we begin, I'd like to advise everyone about the procedures that govern appearances before the Code Enforcement Board. This meeting is open to the public under Florida's Government and Sunshine Law. Therefore, every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence or arguments to offer. It is required that every person who appears before the Code Enforcement Board needs to be registered with the clerk. If you haven't done so, please step up and do so. The cases where the respondents are present and signed in will be heard first. You'll be sworn in or affirmed by the clerk. Once all cases where the respondents are present have been heard by the Code Enforcement Board, it will hear the remaining cases as they appear on the agenda. When your case is called, please be seated at the table reserved for the respondents. The county will present their case, and then the respondents will be allowed to present their case. Additionally, Please limit your comments to only information related to this case. Each party may question witnesses offered on behalf of the other party. Additionally, staff members may question those appearing before the Code Enforcement Board. The board will then make their decision based on the evidence and testimony as presented by both parties. All proceedings before the Code Enforcement Board are electronically recorded. Please speak directly into the microphone at the center of the table and state your name clearly before presenting your case. Should you need assistance due to a hearing impairment or a language barrier, please inform the clerk upon registration. All cell phones and other electronic devices are to be turned off or silenced while inside the chambers. Thank you for your cooperation. No questions on that. We'll get started with the first case on as seen on the agenda, which is case number 24-46 CEB Daniel I. Shaw, 453 Huey Lane, Geneva, Florida. I missed, in addition to that, case number 24-45 CEB, same respondent, Mr. Shaw, 453 Huey Lane, Geneva, Florida. So those two cases will be heard. It's Officer Kara Hill is the officer, and Ms. Hill, Officer Hill, if you want to give both presentations together. And is there a respondent here for this case? If you want to step up, whoever's going to be speaking. And, just take a seat in those chairs there. If you can, over here in this table.
Mr. Chairman, one's rubbish and one is overgrown, so I think they should be done separately.
Okay, Officer Hill, if you can do these separately. It's been asked that we hear these separately, so let's begin with 24-45. I'm sorry, your names and relationship to...
My wife Jessica Shaw.
Thank you. Okay, Officer Hill, 24-45 CEB. If we can start with that one. Thank you.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. I'm submitting a copy of the PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2445 CEB, Daniel I. Shaw, located at 453 Huey Lane in Geneva. Violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. My initial inspection was June 7th, 2023, with notice to respondent on June 16th and August 31st, 2023, which was a verbal, and October 12th, 2023, with compliance dates of June 5th and September 14th, which was a verbal, as well as October 26th, 2023. There were multiple follow-up inspections, including yesterday, and the results of my inspection was the violation of uncultivated vegetation remains on the subject property. These photos were taken on my initial inspection on June 7th, 2023. These photos were taken on June 15th, 2023. These photos were taken on August 3rd, 2023. These photos were taken on August 3rd as well. These photos were taken on September 27th, 2023. These photos were taken on the same date. These photos were taken on December 13th, 2023. These photos were taken on the same date as well. These photos were taken on February 1st of this year. These photos were taken on the same date. Same date, and the blue arrow on the left is showing how high the weeds have gotten. These photos were taken on May 2nd, 2024. These photos were taken on the same date. These photos were taken on June 11th of the posting. These photos were taken yesterday. So there has been some progress made since the posting on June 11th. And these photos were taken yesterday as well. So based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2445 CEB, it is determined that the respondent, Daniel I. Shaw, is the owner of record located at 453 Huey Lane, located in Seminole County, is determined by property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of July 21st, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all uncultivated vegetation in excess of 8 inches in height from the property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. So since this case has been open, in the beginning of the case, I had communication with Mr. Shaw a couple of times. He had some health issues. He was in the hospital. I gave him more time. There was another time that I was following up from a phone call, and his wife answered, and she said he wasn't at home. And so she said, "I'm his wife. Who is this?" I identified myself. She said he wasn't feeling well and he was taking a nap. So the last communication I actually had with Mr. Shaw was back in December. He said that he wasn't going to remove the grass, that it was a buffer, so people knew not to drive into his yard, but that's his backyard. Nobody's going to drive up into his backyard. So that was the last communication I had with Mr. Shaw. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill? Seeing none, Mr. Shaw and Mrs. Shaw, this is your opportunity to speak to this particular case, and then we'll hear the other one after that.
This started about a year and a half, 2 years ago. My neighbor, John Asendorf, wanted to buy the property behind me. Didn't bother me, fine. He wanted an easement across my property to connect his two properties. I didn't want to sell him an easement. He told me if I didn't sell the property to him, I would regret it. Since then, I've been getting code complaints. The grass you see that's high, that's over 8 inches, I have 5 acres. There's lots of grass over 8 inches on my property, I have 5 acres. I mean, it's not a yard, I'm out in Geneva, it's a rural area. That's how it is. I don't know how else to explain that. Since he's told me that, I've dealt with this over and over and over. I don't know if there's any recourse for him that threat. I have the threat in a text. As far as the buffer between the two properties, if you look my address up and follow Google, you go to my backyard where the old driveway is at that I used to own.
This is 520 Old Mims Road.
And people drive down that road and then through my backyard where the buffer's at on my property.
To get to our property.
She hasn't been sworn in.
Happens all the time.
Okay,
So-
but just pause for one moment. Ma'am, we need to swear you in. If you could stand and raise your right hand to the clerk.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead. Continue.
So I had a heart attack a year and a half, 2 years ago. 2 years ago?
2 years.
2 years ago. I've been trying to comply with cleaning things up. I've removed 90% of the things on the property are gone.
The Connex is gone. The red trailer.
The Connex was removed 2 weeks after I got the notice that it needed to go. I removed it. So that's been gone forever. The large semi-trailer on there, that's gone. The vehicles are gone, the pipe's gone, the tubs are gone, everything on there is gone. The only thing that's left
One tub.
is, I believe, two tubs, I believe.
They were taking to,
Taken to my dad's for
Let's
ducks.
focus on this one, because that's probably the next case.
Correct.
So-
Yeah, that's-
So, I mean, if you take real pictures of the property, actually that show what's on there, you'll see a drastic improvement. With heart failure and the ability to work a day in here and then lay down for a week and rest and recoup and then do it again, I'm doing all I
having the
can.
money to do it.
I'm disabled, I don't work, my health, I had cancer when I was 10. My health does not allow me to do more than a couple hours of stuff a day.
If that.
When I leave here, I have to go to my cardiologist, so I'm already late for that, thinking that I was going to be, but regardless, I'm trying to make the property look better.
So with the buffer, the 520, if you go up road, to get onto our road, that is a barrier. So how would we go about fixing that?
And the grass, it's 10 feet of grass between the two properties.
How would we go about fixing that? Because that is our road.
So I'm not talking on Huey Lane, I'm talking the backup, so off of, right, correct. So that's somebody's driveway that goes all the way to the back of your yard. Nobody is going to drive, there's a chain link fence at that address. So a chain that goes across it, no trespassing. The property owners give me access, I drive up their driveway, their property is to the left. So unless somebody is going to that house at the back of 520 Old Mims, nobody's gonna be driving into their backyard.
That's incorrect.
Can you
If
Google
you Google it right now, Google will
453
take you down that
Huey Lane?
driveway.
It'll take you up
I'm
that
not gonna
driveway.
argue
Yeah.
this point with
neither
them.
am I.
Right, if you could direct any comments or responses to the board here.
If you Google 520 or 453 Huey Lane, you'll see you come down Old Mims, turn on 520, and go up 520, and then make a right onto Huey, onto our property.
We're going to consider the evidence that we have here today.
So we have to go on their property to get onto our
And,
property.
let me just say this about whether or not it's for a buffer or whatever. It's still your property, and it's still a apparent violation of the code from what we can see here. So that's what we're focused on. Regardless of why, it's something that has to be brought in compliance.
So,
Go ahead and continue. and-
Are we saying that I can't have any grass on my property over 8 inches? On my 5 acres, if I have anything over 8 inches, that's a violation?
What's this zone? I'm sorry.
It's zoned it's not for grazing, there's no animals so it's not marked for grazing, but it is.
Hold on, wait, hold on.
So if it was marked for grazing, yes, or if they had delineation, which they don't, but it is zoned A5.
And that requires,
Grass and weeds to be maintained under 8 inches in height, unless on property appraiser it shows that it's for it's grazing land.
Now, this is not grass, these are weeds. This is rural stuff in the woods.
It's
Vegetation.
Not grass, this is not a yard.
is it vegetation?
It is, yes, it's
Okay.
part of woods, it's part of under trees, it is areas that is not part of a maintained yard area.
Yes, ma'am.
Officer, is there anything in the code that allows for a buffer in this at
No,
all?
ma'am.
Okay, I didn't think so. Wanted to make sure. Thank you.
A question for you. I'm kind of confused.
Yes, sir.
Do you have to go through their property in order to reach yours?
I owned 520 and 453 at one time. I sold 520 years ago. And the driveway that was for both properties was that driveway.
Okay, is that on your current property?
No.
No.
The driveway
Thank
that's there
you.
is,
But it is
it
our
was sold to them, that is on their property.
Thank you.
We do have an easement, right?
So my goal is to comply. My goal is to do whatever I need to do, I'll do, I have no problem. I just don't know how I can keep 5 acres worth of grass that's partially swamp, partially high, grass less 8 inches all the time. I don't make enough money to maintain that. I can't afford a piece of equipment that would do that and keep that at less than 8 inches. I don't know how to do that. Is there any assistance with this that I can get? I'm disabled, I have no income. Is there a grant I can apply for assistance with this?
That I don't know.
Can anyone tell me how I could comply? Because I want to comply. I want to comply. I just need to know how.
Well, unfortunately, this board can't answer those types of questions.
Who
So
can?
it's here for you today to make a determination.
Any resources that I can reach out to find an answer?
I would recommend you speak with the code enforcement officer. That's her job, and that's the person you can communicate with, and she can answer that, because that's not what we're here to see, if you're going to comply and how you're going to comply with the current situation. But if you have questions, that's what Officer Hill's here for, and you can talk to her about that.
Let me ask one question, also. You mentioned one or two things that would allow them or make them in compliance if certain things were done, and I don't know if they're going to meet the standards for it, but what were those again?
On property appraiser, they can get their property, it's coded as grazing land, but I believe you would have to have animals
Okay.
on there
We
to be
had
grazing
animals. I
land.
had a hard
But
time
that's
with it.
something they can double check with property appraiser to see how they can get that coded as grazing land.
Okay.
Are you,
Don't know if that's an option, but
Yeah,
I just thought it was
had
interesting.
animals. We had
Pigs.
ducks and chickens and cow and pig and stuff.
Okay.
And when I have a heart attack, I couldn't maintain them. I had to get rid of them.
Let me ask you all this here. And we certainly understand the medical issues and all that. When did you start, let me ask the officer, when did you start seeing progress on this? I see it was cited, I think, in May of last year, you said. What-
June, it was,
June of last year?
June of last year, I believe it was June 6th. June 6th.
You
I'm
started
sorry,
seeing-
I say June 7th, excuse me.
Is when you started seeing progress?
No, that was from my first inspection. Then, let's see here.
June of this year is when,
So he had other violations that he did comply with, but this one before you, the progress that I observed was yesterday, and I believe because it was the posting.
Okay.
yesterday was,
But I did an inspection yesterday, but they could have started anywhere between the 11th of this month when I posted it till yesterday.
Okay. I was just curious, thank you.
so it's just that.
Just if the board would be willing to listen to this violation seems like, based on the pictures that I've seen, that it's less egregious than the next case we're about to hear. If the board would be willing, I'd like to move that we delay a decision on this until after we've heard the next case. Does anybody have any objection to that?
I have an objection to that.
I do.
I have to go to my cardiologist.
We have to go to cardiologist.
Well, I mean, we have, your case is coming up again here momentarily.
Okay, so
with the other
the
thing.
motion on
Can't
the
just do them
floor.
both together.
Is it-
Sir, ma'am, you have to stop, okay?
So I'd like to move that we wait on a decision on this until we hear the next case, which will be 2446.
Okay. Just curious, you think there's going to be a relationship in
I think that,
was
I
it
mean,
the vehicle case?
there may be a chance at some type of compliance here. I don't believe that there's going to be a chance of compliance on the next case, but I'd like to hear it first before I know more
Is there a
about it.
second to that motion to reverse these in order?
Second.
Okay, motion on the floor, second motion by Mr. Simon, second by Ms. Townsend. To hear the other case first, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we're gonna come back to this. Bear with us. Officer Hill, could you present the next case? And let me read it into the record. Case number 24-46 CEB, same respondent, same address.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement East Region. I'm submitting a copy of this PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2446 CEB, respondent Daniel I. Shaw, located at 453 Huey Lane in Geneva. Violation charge of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3A, rubbish. My initial inspection was on June 7th, 2023, with notice to respondents on June 16th, August 31st of 2023 with the verbal, and October 12th of 2023. Compliance dates were July 5th, 2023, September 14th, 2023, which was a verbal, and October 26th, 2023, with multiple follow-up inspections, including yesterday. The result of my inspection is the violation of rubbish remains on the subject property. This photo was taken on my initial inspection on June 7th, 2023. Some furniture and some other miscellaneous items that are outside that garage. This inspection was on 6/15/2023. You have some tubing, some piping. I believe Mr. Shaw used to be in the plumbing business, so this is stuff that has been left over, just sitting out in the yard. It's been there at least since I've opened my case. I know he's been slowly cleaning it up just recently. There was this storage container also. He claimed that it was a safe shelter for his family, but there was a hole in it, and something like that would need to have hurricane tie down, so I sent it over to the building department. An inspector went out about a month or so ago, a couple weeks ago, and he started cutting it up, so then it became debris at that time, came back to me. But this container has now been removed. This photo was taken on June 15, 2023. Next photos were taken on August 3rd, 2023. These photos were taken on August 3rd, 2023. Mr. Shaw said he had a friend that was going to come over and pick those up. And so you see the PVC piping that's still laying out there. These photos were taken on September 29th. There's some tubs or sinks there. They're still left behind. On September 29th. December 13th, 2023. The same items still remain. December 13th, 2023, of some toilets and some other debris up on a trailer. The next photos were taken February 1st, 2024. These photos were taken on the same date. Again, on the same date. These photos were taken on May 2nd, 2024. There's that shelter. He was cutting it up and getting rid of it. And there are some tubs up underneath the bushes over there. These photos were taken on the same date. These photos were taken at my posting on June 11th. These photos were taken yesterday. There's still some wire. There's like a wire container that has some rubbish in it as he's slowly cleaning it up. And these photos were taken yesterday as well. There's a clearer picture of his little bin he's got going on with the trash, and then that is I believe it's a trailer with some rubbish piled up on it. These photos were taken yesterday. Those tubs or whatever those items are still being stored up underneath the bush there, and the piping. The piping has gotten better, but there's still quite a bit out there. The suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2446 CEB is determined that the respondent, Daniel I. Shaw, is the owner of record located at 453 Huey Lane, located in Seminole County, is determined by property appraiser's records, in possession or control of property, and is a violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of July 21st, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all the rubbish from the subject property. The respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill on this particular?
Is this the same complainant as the first case?
So, yes, so they have complained on each other. This has been ongoing for several years.
I've never complained on a neighbor at all, ever, not one time.
So my complainant, I had originally told her that make sure that your property is in order if we're gonna be looking at Mr. Shaw's property. And then Mr. Shaw had at one point said, I can keep you very busy. Have you noticed the property, the complainant's property? I said, yes, I have noticed them as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Officer Hill? I'm assuming building, when they went out, they didn't do a violation as well on code?
Correct, because he was cutting it up and
Okay.
getting rid of it.
Just want to make sure. Okay, no other questions? This is your opportunity again to speak
Again,
on behalf of this particular.
Like I said, my goal is to comply. I don't want to be a bad neighbor. I don't want to be a bad partner in what we do, in our community. I'm trying to clean it up. My health has not been helpful for that. If you look at the property, I had 5 guys, I had 7 trucks, I had a big company, and heart failure, and then everything stopped.
Car accident.
Everything just stopped, and wherever it was at in the yard, that's where it stayed. And I had no ability to move it, do anything with it. I had no income to pay anybody else to do it, and I had to slowly do it until my health got good enough to where I can do things like I'm doing now. And I'm doing it as quickly as I can.
Mr. Shaw, I have a question for you.
Yes,
So
sir.
you said you want to comply.
Yes.
What is it you would like for us to consider? More time?
I just need more time. I just need some more time. I've gotten rid of a huge semi-trailer, the container. I've gotten rid of a 5th wheel that was left on property by a friend, 3 cars left on property by friends that just disappeared, and now I have junk cars there that I'm trying to get rid of. I have no titles for, so I can't get rid of.
So my second question is, what timing are you, it's clearly a violation, so we're just deciding when to do it.
two, everything on there will be
So
done.
my question is, you propose something for us to consider, and we can consider it, but the officer made her recommendation as a timeline. What is your recommendation so that we can consider what the compliance date would be?
A month or 2 should be no problem. The rest of the stuff that's there,
So if we said August 30th, is that a
Perfect.
date you can live with?
that should be good. There's not much left. The biggest hurdle was getting rid of the large stuff, the stuff it took me months to cut it in pieces and so on to move. I couldn't move them because it was too big, and I didn't have the ability to do anything with it.
No, understood. I just need to know, so.
But no, I'm slowly chewing away at it. It's a cow, and I'm taking it bite at a time. But it's
No,
a big cow.
we appreciate it. We understand.
I have a
Ms.
question.
Townsend?
I think everyone up here understands health issues. We've all had them over the last few years. So my question to you would be, since this has been ongoing now for over a year,
Yes, it has.
I would like to know what effort, when you say you've tried, what exactly that means. And by that, my question would be, I used to live in Geneva. I know there's a community homeowners association out there. Have you reached out to any of them, to the church, to a salvage company, to
I
the
have.
Boy Scouts, to
Yep.
anybody who could come and help you?
2 local salvage companies I've talked to. One was there yesterday helping me.
Okay?
So yes, I do that.
So did you just wait till now to ask, or have
No.
you been asking for a year?
The whole time. I've always been asking for assistance and help from, I don't go to church. I'm not a church person, so I don't.
think you have to go there in order for them to help you, but
I didn't ask. I didn't feel right asking for assistance from someone that I wasn't a part of their group. But I did describe the people that do the salvage. They came in and assisted me. I gave them whatever it was, copper, brass, metal, thank you for the help. And they did that. The biggest problem that I had with was the semi-trailer, because it was just so big. I bought oxygen and acetylene and a torch, and I cut it up, and it's gone now. It's gone. That was a 2-month process that wore me out, but it's gone. The PVC pipe, I have a small dumpster there that we throw our rubbish in because we live in Geneva.
you don't need to itemize, that's okay. I just wanted
And
to
I-
know to whom you had reached out for assistance.
Friends,
Okay, that
family,
answers my
salvage,
question, thank you.
Not the Boy Scouts.
Any other
Think of that.
questions for the respondent or the officer? Okay, do we have, we'll take we've already heard both cases from both parties, so we'll just make a decision on what we're going to do with each one. So right now, the case that we just heard, 24-46 CEB, the rubbish case, we'll call it, the recommendation is by July 21st or $100 per day. The respondent has requested to have a compliance date of August 30th.
I
That's,
make the motion to go along with staff recommendation for July 21st.
is there a second on that? Seeing none, is there another motion, or?
For that?
I will make the motion for staff's recommendation with a compliance date of August 30th.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ross, second by Mr. Bates, to accept staff's recommendation as presented, however, moving the compliance date to August 30th. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that's that one. Then we're going to the one we heard at first, 24-45 CEB, same respondent, same address. We've already heard this case. Is there a motion on this one?
I will make the same motion that we accept staff's recommendation, but change the compliance date to August 30th.
Motion by Mr. Ross. Is there a second on this one?
Second.
Second by Mr. Simon, and just as a reminder, the recommendation was by July 21st or a $50 per day fine on this one. So there's a motion and a second to accept that recommendation, however, moving the compliance date to August 30th, I believe it was. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Was there a second nay?
Raise your hand. Yeah.
Mr. Davis and Ms. Townsend were nays on that, so motion carries. Okay, that's what we've done. You've got till August 30th. Thank you for coming
Thank you.
in. And
Thank you very much.
when you get done with those, either one,
I'll call.
Officer Hill.
will. I
You
will.
need to make sure you're good.
I will. I appreciate the extra time. Thank you.
Sure, thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Good luck on your appointment today, sir. Next one is case number 24-47 CEB, Simon Pugh. If you're here for that, please step up. 114 Plymouth Avenue, Altamont Springs, 32701. And he's coming up. Officer Adair is the officer on this one.
Sir Chairman, you may want to have them remove the PowerPoints from the last one from the witness table so there's no confusion.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
You gonna sit there?
No.
Okay.
Sir, you're Mr. Simon Pugh?
Right.
Thank you so much.
85 years of it.
Okay, we'll get to you in just a moment, so you can get yourself comfortable there.
Okay.
Officer Dare, whenever you're ready.
Oh, thank you.
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-47-CEB. The respondent is Simon Pugh. I would like to submit this copy of PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 114 Plymouth Avenue in Seminole County, Florida. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. My initial inspection was December 14th, 2023. Notice to respondents were on January 4th, 2024, and January 18th, 2024, with compliance dates for January 18th, January 18th, 2024, and February 2nd, 2024. Follow-up inspections were December 28th. That should have been a 2023. January 4th, 2024. January 18th, 2024. February 1st, 2024. And yesterday, June 26th, 2024. Results of the follow-up inspections were the rubbish violation remains on the property. These images are from my initial inspection. They show the rubbish in his yard, which consists of water heaters, miscellaneous debris, and there's a trailer out front that stores the water heaters. This is a follow-up inspection on December 28th, 2023. It remains the same. Follow-up inspection on January 4th remains the same. Follow-up inspection on January 18th, not much has changed. The water heaters keep coming back. This is image February 1st, 2024. Still shows the water heaters on the trailer. And this is yesterday's inspection. A lot has been cleaned up, but the rubbish still persists. So the suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-47-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Simon Pugh, is the owner of record of property located at 114 Plymouth Avenue, located in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of July 11th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove the rubbish and water heaters from the property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Adair?
So it was very clear to see the water heaters on the trailer, but you said it was clean up. Is there a lot of rubbish left? Because I didn't see as much on the picture.
For the yard, there's not as much, but there still is a little bit of debris.
Okay.
You can go back to the recent picture yesterday.
Got it. I can see stuff still. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions for Officer Adair?
I have a question for you. A lot of these, you'll see like a notice of hearing is posted. Here we did certified mail. Is there a particular reason why you didn't post on this one?
Correct. So he signed the certified mail and gave it back over to Alexis, so that negates me having to post the property.
Gotcha. And this is just my ignorance of the code enforcement process. But when the notice of hearing is the posting, that's usually a couple of weeks before the hearing, and then, we have a more clear picture of, what was done between an inspection on February 1st and now we're to June 26th. So that's almost a full 5-month period in between. Is there a particular reason why there's no visit from you in that 5-month period?
So it was up to the respondent to make sure he's in compliance and to contact me. I believe my last visit was in February.
Yes, sir.
So that is when I submitted my SOV and filed it for the hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Pugh, this is your opportunity to speak on behalf of this violation, alleged violation, sir. So go ahead.
Well, speak on the behalf of the violation is his stuff is out the yard. Now, nobody would come out there and talk to me about it. But now, stuff is out the yard. I'm 85 years old, number one. I do scrapping to support my need for a financial system. The Social Security check don't give me nothing hardly. That's all I get. I do scrapping to build up what I need, what I can't get from nowhere else. And the yard don't look bad. One while there I was sick. I couldn't do nothing. And that was first in this year. But as time went on, started feeling better, so clean, got everything cleaned up. And the fearful water heaters on the trail, some people put them on there because they know I do scrapping. People trying to help me, I can't push them off because some things happen sometimes. It's because other than the people helping me, ain't nothing else help me. So, I don't understand it. Why would you worry about, if you come out there and talk to me about this stuff? I told you I could get it up, but I can't get it up right now because I ain't feeling good. So when I felt a little better, then I cleaned it up. And then too, the last part of last year, and the year up in there, and the first part of this year, it was hot out there. And I don't think none of us in here can stand out a whole bunch of heat. But the thing about it is, it's clean. And that's all I could get done. I can't do nothing else with it. It's clean. 6 little water heaters on the trailer because people come by and put that stuff up there for me because they know I ain't got no income coming. And instead of trying to railroad me, should have been figuring out a way to get me a little help out there sometime if I need a little help to do something. You can ride by and make suggestions. Why don't you stop by and see what you can do to help the person that's in need? I'm gonna tell y'all something. Only way you can see this is in person like it was. But when the thing got bad like that was last year when it was hot. And at 74 years old, I can't stand all that heat I used to. So I've been making my substitute living off of selling scrap. I've been doing that for 30-something years. And still living in the same place. Sometimes you might get a little bit heavy, and most of the time, it ain't that heavy. You got a little bit of stuff there. But from getting it there, people drop it off, I get it there, then I got to load it on the trailer and take it to the scrap yard. So, and then also in the meantime, with some of that here, see, the reason things haven't been going so good because my wife passed away. I didn't have the pusher that I had. And I was getting older, not younger. You don't feel good every day. Well, I was all up there kind of old. And you don't feel good every day. I know what I'm talking about.
Can I offer Adair a quick question? Is the water heaters, are they the same ones or they seem to be different ones that are on there every time you inspect?
They're different each inspection, and I've informed him that it's not allowed to be stored or on his property, and his rebuttal was that he scraps for a living, and he's going to keep continuing to bring them.
You and I ain't never talked about no water heater.
So, Mr. Pugh, they're recommending that you get the property in compliance with what has been suggested by July 11th. You said it's been clean, it needs to be cleaner, obviously. Can you do that by July 11th?
It's already clean.
That's not my question. Can you comply with what?
I'm going to hold it one second, if you will, please. I'm going to keep it back there and clean it up. Everything out there I can get rid of and get rid of it.
And can you remove the water tanks from the property by July 11th?
I ain't got no choice, I guess.
And refrain from bringing them back.
But the thing about it is, now when people come by and drop that stuff off, they help me with my finances. I can't turn it down. I ain't getting nothing else.
Does he have a garage?
Carport,
And
but he has a truck under it.
I would suggest that you speak to Officer Adair about alternatives for that, because we can't give you advice, and we just here to determine whether you're going to comply with the code violations by that time.
all he have to do is stop by the house and we can talk.
Okay. Well, based on that, I'm going to recommend that we accept the staff's recommendation.
Can I just get in a quick question
Oh,
before
sorry.
we
Go
do
ahead.
a second on your motion? Can you explain to me, sir, how often you go to scrap, how many tanks you take per scrap?
Okay, it goes like this. The trailer, I think, is about 18 foot long. I ain't no use of going out there with 4 or 5 water heaters on it. I got to load it, then take it. It's like other people trying to help me more than people about the code enforcement thing. Because the pictures I seen you took there, that wasn't yesterday and wasn't this day and wasn't this year.
Thank you, sir. I'll second the motion.
Yeah.
I have a question I'd like to ask. Is scrapping a permitted use in this zoning district?
No. Okay. No, because it would still be considered rubbish and it's a violation.
Thank you.
I have a question before we move for Officer Adair. He believes that he's in compliance and it's all clean now. My eyes aren't that great, but on the right side of that fence, what am I looking at there? It looks like stuff's still out there.
So I should have blown it up further, but yeah, it's still miscellaneous objects like metal buckets. I think there was like a table and a chair.
So he thinks he's in compliance from what I heard, but he's obviously not.
Correct.
And then let me just add on for your benefit, Mr. Pugh, what I'm worried about here, even if we can get in compliance here now, tomorrow, whatever, this might continue happening based on what I've heard. You have people dropping stuff off, you scrap, and 4 is not enough, so you're going to wait till you get more. So just a word of caution, even if we can get by this, you need to understand that it may continue. So, and you'll be in violation again. So, is there any more discussion or questions? We had a motion to accept staff's recommendation, I believe, by Mr. Ross and Mr. Simon seconded. Thank you for the help, guys. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So we've found that there was a violation and given you to the recommended time by July 11th, or there's going to be fines of $100 a day that will kick in at that point. When you get that done, please get a hold of Officer Adair so he can come out and you guys are on the same sheet of music. And thank you for what you've done so far. I hope everything gets a little bit better going for you, and that's what we've done today. Thank you, Mr. Pugh.
Okay.
I appreciate that. All right, and moves us to case number 24 on the next page. Case number 24-53 CEB Andre Lancaster, 115
Well, it wouldn't hurt to walk with me.
Larkspur Drive, Altamont Springs, 32701. This will be Officer Adair's case again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, once you get comfortable, if you could tell us your name.
My name's Andre Lancaster.
Thank you. And you were sworn in, I believe?
Yes, sir.
And it's, ma'am, you're not going to be testifying? Okay, thank you. Okay, Officer Adair, whenever you're ready.
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-53-CEB. The respondent is Andre Lancaster. I would like to submit a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 115 Larkspur Drive in Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined as 95.3A, rubbish. The initial inspection was on January 26, 2024. Notices to respondent are on February 9th, 2024, February 23rd, 2024, and March 8th, 2024, with the following compliance dates of February 23rd, 2024, March 8th, 2024, and March 22nd, 2024. Follow-up inspections were February 9th, February 23rd, March 8th, March 22nd, June 14th, and June 26th, 2024. Results of inspections were the rubbish violation remains on property. These are from my initial inspection showing the miscellaneous rubbish on the property. Again, more photos from the same day, initial inspection. So on a follow-up inspection on February 9th, showing the debris still remain. Same thing, more images from February 9th. These are from a follow-up inspection on February 23rd. He was removing a majority of it. You can see it lined up on the curb to be picked up. Follow-up inspection on March 8th, March 8th. There's a trailer with a bunch of debris, tires, car parts. This is on March 22nd. He has a lot of like lumber, usable wood throughout the back of his property. This is data posting on June 14th. And these are images from yesterday's inspection, June 26th. The debris, or the rubbish still remains. The suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-53-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Andre Lancaster, is the owner of record of the property located at 115 Larkspur Drive, located in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of July 11th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove the miscellaneous debris and rubbish from the yard. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Adair? Yes, Mr. Bates.
Mr. Adair, as I understand it, this property has been in and out of compliance. You showed various compliance dates, but he corrects it and then it gets messed up again, or what's the deal there?
So it's always been out of compliance. He's just moved, or I've been working with him to establish compliance, so he's removed the bits and pieces I've asked, but each time I come back, there's more.
I see.
Can you tell us what the origin of this complaint is, sir?
The complainant is one of the neighboring properties.
And you're able to get what appear to be excellent photographs here. Is the backyard visible from anywhere? Where are these?
So the first couple inspections, Mr. Lancaster allowed me into the backyard, and this is where I showed him the different violations. And then the recent picture yesterday, he did not answer the door, or no one was there, so I had to ask the neighbor to view from their yard.
So you could view from the neighbor's yard the back of the property?
Correct.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions for Officer Adair? Okay, Mr. Lancaster, this is your opportunity to offer anything you'd like to offer in regards to this matter.
Well, I thank you for what y'all do. I have a lot of respect for living here for the last 30 years and raising 5 children in that house. It's been a pleasure to be part of Altamont. Recently, this last year, I ran into an issue that I've never had before. I got 2 projects going on. One is I built an addition to my house that I'm working with permitting to get it in compliance. And the other part, I hired an architect and paid him $3,000. And the other issue is I took in a tenant that Mr. Adair knows about, met him personally. He brought in 3 trailers of stuff and unloaded it in my yard. And Mr. Adair, I totally told him to get everything out of my yard. Well, he ended up getting arrested for dealing meth. Dealing meth, he got 5 counts of dealing meth. He had on a record 5 other charges before where he went to prison for it. So they said the likelihood of him getting out in the next 10 years is not real likely. So I've had a lot of people that knew him come by and wanted his tools and his pressure washers and his lawnmowers and his trailer and his boat trailer and all this stuff that he put in my yard. Meanwhile, about 6-7 weeks ago, I collapsed. I have diabetes, and evidently my sugar level was getting unstable. My ability to handle, I was eating a bad diet, and I had no strength anymore, and I just collapsed. I collapsed at her house, and by ambulance, I was taken to the hospital. The hospital sent me to a rehab center because I had no ability to walk after that. So I spent time in the Mount Dora Rehab and Rehabilitation Center for 6 weeks to get me to the point that I could walk again. And I think I'm doing well. I mean, if you'd seen me 10 weeks ago, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get out of bed. I had a completely physical breakdown. At this point, though, I got back home 3 weeks ago. Upon getting home, I was inundated with catching back up on my life because I didn't do anything with my yard or whatever, but I did read the notices posted in my yard and the legal mail coming by. So one of the biggest complaints that Mr. Adair had, he didn't want any distressed or junked vehicles in my yard. So I was in the point of trying to get everything out of my yard. When I got back home, I called up a junk company and disposed any vehicles in my yard that were considered to be not usable for anything other than junk. And they came out last weekend and got those. I hired a company to come out there and do all my yard work and maintenance work. And they came out last Monday, and they told me that since my grass has grown like weeds, it was mostly wasn't grass, it was mostly like weed material. He says he couldn't run his lawnmowers over it because he doesn't know what lumber or pipes he'll hit below his lawnmowers. He said, you're going to have to get somebody there with weed eaters and hack it down and then make it mobile, and then I can come out every Monday and so and do your yard. And so I had a lot of catching up to do. Meanwhile, I got 3 things going on. I have a lot of lumber in there I was building, but all that building stopped when I went into the hospital. Number 2, I had all that junk from the person that was, I rented a room to in my house. He brought over all these trailers. He ended up going to jail. He ended up leaving tons of stuff at my house. I ended up throwing piles and piles and piles of stuff away. But at this point, I got to hire people every weekend to fill up my trash pile up front to get rid of everything in the yard that nothing in the yard belongs to me except for the lumber. The lumber is mine, but all the junk, all the lawnmowers, pressure washers, whatever, I don't expect him to come back, so I plan to throw it all away. And I'm going to have to hire people because I can't carry nothing at this point. I'm too weak to carry anything. So at this point, Mr. Adair has been out since February. He came out. He was showing up every 2 or 3 weeks. He'd point here, there, and over there. And over the period of about 3 different times that he came out, I took care of the different things to comply with and got the pile whittled down. But not to confuse it, I have a lot of lumber out there that I'm still building a deck on the back of my house. At this point, I'm not building anything. I stopped all construction because one is that money-wise got tighter, and number 2, I didn't have workmen anymore because they all quit and left when I ended up going into the hospital. But right now, I don't want to start construction. I want to put all the lumber in storage, if that's allowable. I do have a storage trailer out there that Mr. Adair told me the storage trailer is all right. I do have everything else out there in the yard. I have lawnmowers, pressure washers. Mr. Adair told me the lawnmowers are all right. Any outside furniture, for yard furniture, is all right. Canopies, things of that nature is all right. But he says all the other stuff, the miscellaneous stuff that he accumulated in my yard, he said it all has to go. So I'm going to have to get someone hired because my yard men, the garbage trucks come by every Tuesday and every Friday. And my plan is to hire people to they'll pick up usually on Friday anything I put out there. So I'm going to try to keep a large pile out there every Friday. But I do ask the board for a few consideration. I want to hire a company to do the yard on a weekly basis. To get it, because right now I haven't done any yard work for the period of the last, I'd say for over 2 months, for the last 60 days, probably 80 days. Everything has just got overgrown. And I haven't been there. I haven't been staying there. I've been staying at the Mount Dora Rehab Hospital. I'm now back home full-time. But I have very little strength. There's no way I can do any physical work. I have to hire people to do all the work that I want done. And I do have money. I do have income. So that shouldn't be a problem. I just have to coordinate things getting done. So I asked for the following is, I asked for time. They asked me to get it all done by July the 10th, which today being the 26th of June, is less than 2 weeks. I got a good 6 weeks of work to do. And that is getting it out there and getting the yard mowed down and getting everything manicured, because it's my privilege to make my yard look like it once looked. I used to have a very, I love plants, and I want to get my yard looking like it's a support of the community and not an eyesore. So I want to get all the yard, I want to get hired yard people to do the yard. Everything that looks like debris and refuge, I'd ask Mr. Adair to drop by whenever he's in the neighborhood, do a walkthrough with me. Hopefully I'll be getting rid of everything I can to the point of compliance. I asked if, I don't know if it's allowable, but I know you gave kindness to a gentleman to give him time to the end of August the 30th to get his stuff done. I'm asking for time to get, because I got a lot of work and I can't do any of it myself. But if I have that, I can coordinate and hire people to get it done. If it comes down to it at the end, I'll hire just a big container and just tell people just start throwing everything in a big container and let's haul it off, because it's not my stuff. It was dropped off in my yard, and I think Mr. Adair can support that. It was never my plan to put anything in my yard. I'm not, the lumber is mine. I bought the lumber with the intention of building an addition to my house. That got destroyed by the last hurricane we had come by. And FEDA gave me $11,000 to build back my porch on the back of my house. So, and so I did an addition to my house to comply with FEMA. They said all that money had to be spent on reconstructing what was torn down by the hurricane. But I'm asking time to the end of August, August the 30th, which you offered to another gentleman here. I'm asking for Mr. Adair to put me on a schedule to drop by to see compliance being done, and to give me, he's got a good eye. He can walk into a yard, and anything he spots that he wants gone, say, just point there, but little by little, I hope to have 100% compliance by August the 30th. I hope to have complete compliance with the yard within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I want to get, that's the weeds or overgrown shrubbery, because I haven't done any yard work for a period of like 70, 80 days. I haven't done any yard work. And we've had a lot of rain, and at this point, I want to get the yard work done. I have to restore the lumber to a point that it's not an eyesore. I have it in piles right now, but there are certain things in my yard that I believe he's already told me I can keep. I have a storage trailer in my yard that I'm using for a construction trailer, and he said that's all right. But all the miscellaneous debris that needs to go 100%. So I want to get rid of all the miscellaneous debris. I want to get all the vegetation taken down to normal levels, and get it all done by hopefully August the 30th, if that would be allowable and supported by this committee.
Thank you. We'll see here momentarily. Before we move to the question, is there anything that you found contradictory to what he's just, all the information he's just shared with us as far as his efforts?
He has, or I have worked with him. Every time I have gone out there in the past, the pile I asked has been either moved or reduced. But I have had a previous case open with him when I was in training, so about a year ago in June or August, for the same issue. I do believe he is a repeat offender and will keep happening, so I would like to establish an order.
Sure.
Mr. Adair, is the lumber, as it either was at your last inspection or as it's been described, is that a violation?
Technically, yes, it's considered rubbish, but since he was actively making the addition, I allowed it.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Lancaster or Officer Adair by anyone? He's asking, the recommendation is by July 11th of this year, or a $100 day fine. He's asking for an extension of that time to August 30th is the request. Mr. Bates?
I'd move the officer's recommendation with the extended compliance date of August 30th.
I will second that.
Mr. Bates makes a motion, seconded by Mr. Ross, to accept staff's recommendation as presented, however, extending the compliance date to August 30th. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 That's what we've, I'm sorry, okay, Mr. Davis was nay on that. The motion carries. You've got till August 30th. Stay in touch with Mr. Adair, especially when you get to the finish line on this. And I hope your health issues get better, and thank you for the efforts you've made up to this point.
Well, thank you for all y'all do to keep this county looking good.
Thank you, sir. The next ones on the agenda are not here. Next two cases, it moves us to case number 24-61 CEB, the Home Fund, Inc., at 950 Leonard Street, Altamont Springs, 32701. And then there'll be another one, same respondent to follow that one. Officer Adair, seems like your day today. We'll have both these cases. And if anybody's here for this case, I think I had a name here, Karen Bob, registered agent, might be presenting, or any other respondent, anyone on behalf of the respondent?
Mr. Chairman, I need just 1 minute. If you could just not let him go past the first slide, please.
Oh, yeah, okay. We'll take a brief pause here momentarily.
I need to start bringing water.
We're going to get going in a minute or two here, but is there somebody to speak on behalf of the respondent on this case? I do have a name of a Karen Bob, registered agent. Okay. And we'll move forward here in a moment when Mr. Simon gets back. All right, Mr. Sine is joining us back. Officer Adair, whenever you're ready, it's your leisure. Just go ahead. Oh, I think I missed. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
All righty. Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-61-CEB. Respondent is the Home Fund, Inc. I would like to submit a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 950 Leonard Street, Seminole County, Florida. The violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in Section 95.3C, remains a rubble of a structure. The initial inspection was on April 6, 2023. Notices to respondents was June 1st, 2023 and July 6, 2023. Compliance dates were July 1st, 2023 and July 24th, 2023. Follow-up inspections were on April 26, 2023, May 31st, 2023, July 13th, 2023, August 8th, 2023, September 12th, 2023, October 20th, 2023, and yesterday, June 6, 2024. Results of the follow-up inspection, the remains or rubble of a structure violation remains. This is a photo provided by Officer Bavaro on his first inspection, April 6, 2023. It shows the roof is caved in. This is a follow-up inspection, again by Officer Bavaro on May 31st, 2023. It's the only photo provided, but you can still see the tarp on the building in the back. Images provided by Officer Bavaro on his follow-up inspection, July 13th, 2023. You can still see the condition of the home. I believe follow-up inspection, Officer Bavaro on August 8th, 2023. You can still see the hole in the roof. That is a dumpster for the next case. Follow-up inspection by Officer Bavaro on September 12th, 2023. Condition of the house hasn't changed. Follow-up inspection by Officer Bavaro on October 20th, 2023. And this is an inspection I conducted yesterday on June 26, 2024. Nothing much has changed. The suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-61-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, the Home Fund Inc., is the owner of record of the property located at 950 Leonard Street, located in Seminole County, as determined by property appraiser records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in Section 95.3C. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of July 11th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove, repair, or secure the remains or rubble of a structure. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. We'll take this one and then follow up with the next one. Is there any questions for Officer Adair on this case? Mr. Simon?
Yeah, Officer Adair, can you explain why this started back in, I guess this would be a full year ago, and is only now reaching us?
I believe back in December, it was supposed to have an original hearing, but due to staffing issues and et cetera, it kept getting extended back.
But by code enforcement, not by the applicant, or do we know?
By the code enforcement, the county. I know we lost Pat Hughes. She was the old clerk, so I think it was in that transition time.
Gotcha, thank you.
Officer, excuse me, Officer Adair, is this considered as a safety issue too, or just rubble?
It would be up to the board to determine that.
Thank you.
Does someone live there, sir?
I believe in the beginning they did, but as of late, no.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Officer Adair? Seeing none, I'm assuming you're Karen Bob, registered agent?
Yes, I am.
Okay, this is your opportunity to speak on behalf of this.
Okay, just from observing the photos, you can see that about more than 50% of the structure is damaged, and therefore it won't be rebuilt. We would like to have to demolish the property, and we would like to be issued a notice that it's unsafe for use or occupancy, one of those orange danger signs that you issue, because we have an issue with squatters at the location, and they have actually been a part of the rubbish that you see there. And if you take notice of some of those photos, you're going to see that you'll see concrete that's about 30 to 50 feet away from the building. And there are also no permits on this property. So that had to be done with some sort of machinery, and we haven't done anything like that. And so there's some illegal dumping going on, and there was a period of time when there was a squatter there that was accepting money to dump, to have rubbish dumped onto the property. And so we tried to work on getting the help of law enforcement. That didn't really work out. And I think that a notice that maybe that if I could leave here today with that sign, that would help a lot, because that would be able to direct law enforcement on the fact that it is an unstable structure that's not fit for use or occupancy. Additionally, I would like to ask for 150 days so that we can get the permits, the proper permits, funding together, and everything that we need to get the structure taken down.
Questions for Ms. Bob?
Yeah, can you explain what the Home Fund Inc. is?
It's a housing development organization.
And you are the, you're the president of this organization?
Yes, I am currently.
So you own the home?
I don't own the organization. It's a nonprofit organization for housing development. It's a
And it's
community
in their-
housing development
So the house is in
organization.
their name?
The house is in the home fund, in the name of the Home Fund Incorporated.
That was my question.
So let me get this straight. You want us to find in favor of the violation and to issue a notice that it is unsafe?
It is unsafe for use and occupancy, and we've been trying to keep people out of the building so that we can work on things.
No, I
and to
understand.
work on the property.
Can I interject for a moment? Is there power connected to the house? Does it have electricity?
No, it has no utilities at all that are functioning. There's no sewage, there's no water, and there's no electricity.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Let me,
Since those three, no one's living in there, there's no power, and it's not homesteaded, we can now turn it into the building department for abatement.
for a payment,
Abatement.
abatement.
But that doesn't stop what we're doing
Well,
here today.
wait a second.
Correct.
I'm
Okay,
sorry to
so-
interrupt you.
Yeah, so be very aware, she's making a request of you that technically. Right, and you can't do that. You have to basically pursuant to Chapter 162, just determine a violation and a reasonable time for compliance. Now, there's a health, safety, welfare concern, so the county will flip it to a different board for that different action. Okay? But at this point, this is no different than any other case that you've heard, other than it's been a long time in this condition, and now you've heard some health, safety, welfare concerns, so you don't have to provide the time being requested by the respondent.
Let me also add
Yes.
that laws have changed, and I'm not a lawyer, but I would suggest, at least I can tell you from experience in Orange County, I think July 1st is when they change in the state dealing with squatter issues. In the sheriff's office, what they told you before, they can't get involved in, and it's maybe a civil matter, and then check again. You just Google search Florida squatter law.
I'm aware of the law. However, the determination here on this documentation is basically stating that this property is not suitable for use. So.
I thought you had squatter issues, but I was just.
Yes,
trying
we
to-
do have squatter issues at that location, and we did have someone out on the property that was followed around the property while trying to service the property, and so they're there, and I guess they pick the days that they want to come out to the property and be present, but for the most part, I think the person is in the building at nighttime. So I just want to know more about, would we be issued any type of documentation that is not suitable for use or occupancy, and how does that work?
The board can't give you legal advice. You're going to have to go talk to an attorney when you get a copy of their order.
Okay, so now section 110.5, right? I think that's a revocation of, I guess, the certificate of occupancy. I mean, so there is no certificate of occupancy of the property due to the fact that the year that it was built, but it's essentially covering the same thing. It's not something that you would find suitable for use of a human being. So what can you do to assist us with keeping people out of the structure so that law enforcement can recognize it as a direction from this department?
Okay, you've had a year and a half to ask those questions of, number one, the code officer, this officer, or the previous
I did.
officer.
I
Okay, this
did.
board is not here to help you with those issues, unfortunately.
Right.
Okay, those are questions that you need to either confer with the code officer, and if they can't give you the answers, then you have to look at private counsel.
Well, I did ask for some sort of documentation or something that I could relate to officers. I also, show the officer the email, because in the very same day on
What have we done
second-
to try to fix the problem?
Oh, yeah, we have been trying to fix the problem, but the issue is that the person occupying the property is the person that is responsible for like I told you, the rubbish and all
Well,
those
then you
things
have to
there.
hire an attorney to get the squatter out. This board is limited in what they can do. So right now, let's get back to the issue. There's a second case. Would you like to
Okay.
hear the second case before you make a determination?
Can I speak with you privately, Ms. Brown, for a moment first?
No?
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. I have a question for you, Officer Dare. I think we've established, even with the respondent, that this is now a safety issue. Does that change the conditions where we may have to fence it or anything else to stop this?
So the outcome would still remain the same. You secure the property. It would be a safety issue. It's not up to me to determine. It'd be up to you guys to determine if it's a safety issue, but she would still have to secure the property because under property appraiser, it is the home funding that owns the property.
Possibly with a fence then, correct?
Correct.
Did the home fund have title to this, how long has the home fund had title to this property?
Since December of '21,
Since December of 2021?
yes.
And when did the condition, I know code
there
enforcement
was
started this in
there were-
2023.
Right. The occupant, Gary Chestnut, there were some things that he didn't exactly reveal to me at the time of the property transfer. There were some conditions there that he didn't make me aware of. And, that's also a part of my own due diligence there. But slowly, he began to reveal that there was more problems going on with the property than actually were. For instance, he stated that he was residing inside the property, but then there were no utilities or anything present in the property after a while. So I wasn't aware that that was the case.
How did the home fund acquire this property?
How? With Gary Chestnut, we made a deal with him, basically.
A deal, you have a, okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, that's another case. But yeah, we were working together towards getting this, getting the property, the code violation removed because it was pretty sudden when it happened. But it turned out that the person that was living with him was the person responsible for having someone dump on the property. And that person does have a drug problem, and he was receiving funds, money to dump garbage on the property.
Mr. Chairman, in light of the testimony, I think let's just move on, and I move to accept the staff's recommendation as is, and it's clear there's a violation.
Right, and
so there's no need for further discussion. I would just move that we accept the recommendation as it is, unless somebody wants to give a shorter or longer compliance date, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I would just say.
It will happen,
Ma'am,
but
you
we
have
just
to
need
stop.
I move that we accept it as on this one, that we accept it as recommended by Officer Adair.
Motion on the table to accept staff's recommendation as presented. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by Mr. Simon. Motion by Mr. Ross, second by Mr. Simon. Further discussion?
I can't go along with that. I would recommend that we consider this to be a health, safety, welfare issue and forward it to the proper county agency for follow-up under that condition.
We could add an amendment on to it, I believe, adding it as part of the motion, if that one, you wanted to consider that.
Oh, if we can do that, I just didn't know we could. So our dual motion will be to accept the staff's recommendation and refer it to the appropriate agency to deal with.
Just tag it health, safety, welfare under
That's
Chapter
right.
162. Just
What-
add the
what-
tagline.
And the tagline, as Yvette just said it to
Health,
us.
safety,
It's a health,
is
safety, welfare
Safety,
concern.
welfare issue.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's already been
I'll
acknowledged.
leave my second in place for that.
Okay, very good. Adding that friendly amendment on, same party making the motion, same second.
Can I make a statement?
No, ma'am. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's what we've done. We've accepted the recommendation by staff, given you until July 11th.
Okay.
On this particular case, we're going to hear the other one in just a moment. and going to label it as a health, safety, welfare issue.
Okay.
That gives the county some different options.
Okay, and so do we get any type of a signage or anything like that?
No, I don't
is
believe
necessary?
so. He can explain to you what you would get after this.
Okay, so I got some more questions because
There's a second case, okay? They need to move on to the next case.
Okay.
Officer Adair, we're going to hear from you, case number 24-62 CEB, the Home Fund, Inc. This is the second case, 950 Leonard Street, Altamont Springs, 32701. Whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region, case number 24-62-CEB. Respondent is the Home Fund, Inc. Would like to present a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. Violation is located at 950 Leonard Street, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. Initial inspection was on April 6, 2023. Notices to respondents were on June 1st, 2023, July 6, 2023. Compliance dates were July 1st, 2023, July 24th, 2023. Follow-up inspections, April 26, 2023, May 31st, 2023, July 13th, 2023, August 8th, 2023, September 12th, 2023, October 20th, 2023, and yesterday, June 26, 2024. Results of follow-up inspection, the rubbish violation remains. This is an initial inspection by Officer Bavaro on April 6, 2023, depicting the rubbish. Follow-up inspection on May 31st, 2023. Follow-up inspection by Officer Bavaro on July 13th, 2023, rubbish remains. This is an image on his reinspection on, August 8, 2023. I believe he was in contact with the Home Fund, Inc., but I can't attest to that. But the arrow depicts the rubbish in the background. Says a follow-up on September 12, 2023 by Officer Bavaro depicting the rubbish still remains on the property. Follow-up by Officer Bavaro on October 20th, 2023. It's a zoomed-in picture, but it shows the rubbish still remains. And this is a recent picture from yesterday, June 2026. I took it on my inspection, and it depicts the concrete slabs, all the rubbish in the side of the house. The suggested recommendation by the Code Enforcement Officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-62-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, the Home Fund, Inc., is the owner of record of property located at 950 Leonard Street, located in Seminole County as determined by the property appraiser records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in Section 95.3C. It is further recommended that Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of July 11th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove the miscellaneous debris and rubbish from the property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any other questions for Officer Adair?
I just have one for our board attorney. In light of our most recent resolution, I mean, can we even deviate since we've already made that declaration and suggestion that it be moved to the appropriate agency? Don't we have to just adopt the same resolution going forward?
No, two different issues. Okay. Two different issues.
And we didn't.
You didn't order it to go anyplace else. You just tagged it to bring it to
Okay.
the county's attention.
Okay.
Any other questions for Officer Adair? Yes, ma'am. No? Seeing none, Ms. Bob, this is your opportunity to speak to this particular separate violation, ma'am.
Okay, regarding the separate agency, what, can you explain to me?
There's no separate agency. What are you doing to fix this problem?
Okay, so what I wanted to state was that there's illegal dumping going on this property, and that concrete that you see there is not a part of the structure. That was brought from someplace else, because it's about 30 to 50 feet away. I thought that's what we were talking about before. Sorry about that. It's 30 to 50 feet away, so someone dumped it there. There's no human that could pick that up from that property and place it in that area.
Is it on your property?
It's there, but...
Is it on your property?
It's there, but the...
Is it on your property?
The issue...
Yes or no?
I just said it's there.
Okay, so it's on your property, correct?
I saw it there today, yes.
Okay, so as the owner of the property, you're responsible for handling the matters on your property. So you have to figure out a way to fix the problem, to eliminate it, and to basically figure out a way that it doesn't happen again.
Okay.
If it happens again, you're responsible for it, okay?
You said you had questions before. Do you want to ask them?
We would like some time so that we can get permits and to start the process of demolition.
This is the rubbish case that we're talking about now, the stuff that you saw in the pictures. It was,
Okay, so the previous case was the structure. Is that correct?
that was, and that's
Okay,
closed.
that's the
yeah.
case where I was asking basically the same thing, where I was asking for some time for us to get the permits that were needed to
That case is closed, ma'am. We're on the rubbish case. So-
I know, I did mention that during that time.
Okay.
I'll move that we accept staff's recommendation, compliance date as staff recommended.
Motion by Mr. Simon, seconded by Mr. Davis to set staff's recommendation as presented, which would be a compliance date of July 11th, 2024, or a fine of $100 per day. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm not opposing, I have just a quick question. Shouldn't we tag it the same way as the first one?
No, because this issue is not a health safety issue. The rubbish, well, unless you considered it, but this is different than the structure.
Okay.
The condition of the structure was the health, safety, welfare concern. This is the rubbish, the junk and debris that's on the property.
Okay, you can add my eye to the group. I just wanted to ask, you guys were too fast for me.
Okay.
I just want to be consistent.
Yep.
Okay, so this one's closed out. That's what we've done, ma'am. Thank you, and thank you for coming in today. Appreciate it.
Great.
Moves us to, looks like the last case we're going to be discussing here. There's a lien request. Next page, case number 24-20 CEB Barbara B. Fredericks, 230 Scarborough Cove, Longwood, Florida 32779. If you're here for this case, please step up to the table there. And ma'am, you're Ms. Frederick?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Officer Adair, whenever you're ready.
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-20-CEB. Respondent is Barbara Fredericks. I'm going to present a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is at 230 Scarborough Cove, Seminole County, Florida. The violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in Section 95.3C, remains a rubble of a structure. Initial inspection was on August 22nd, 2023. The code board order date was on April 25th, 2024, and follow-up inspections were on April 29th, 2024, and yesterday, June 26th, 2024. Results of the follow-up inspection where the remains or rubble of a structure violation remains. This is a photo of the inspection after the code board date on April 29th, 2024. It shows the chimney still has a hole in it, and there's a divot in the roof right there. This is an inspection from yesterday, June 26, 2024. The hole in the chimney remains, and in between the ferns on the photo to the right where the arrow's pointing, the hole has gotten larger. That black area in between is all a hole. The suggested recommendation by the code enforcement officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-20-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Barbara Fredericks, is the owner of record of the property located at 230 Scarborough Cove, located in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser records. is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in Section 95.3C. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board, based on the findings of fact, conclusion, and law and order, the Code Enforcement Board issue an order constituting a lien in the amount of $3,200 for 63 days of non-compliance from April 26, 2024 through and including June 27, 2024 at $50 per day. And the fine shall continue to accrue at $50 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after June 27, 2024. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Adair? Hey, ma'am, before we turn it over to you, just let me explain. This is a lien request, different from what you witnessed out there. We have these other cases, they were new cases. So what we're here today to do is to make a decision on whether or not to apply a lien to the property for 63 days of noncompliance. And so we're not going to hear the whole case again. You can certainly refer to it if there's important pieces of it. But that's what we're here today, not to hear the case, but to determine whether or not a lien's going to be applied. So, and again, this is your opportunity to speak to this board here in regards to that.
I need a new roof and some repairs to the house, and I don't have the money to do it. And so since the last time somebody had suggested that I contact different agencies. And anyway, I contacted the Rebuild of Florida, and they've been working with me since then. I have a letter here from them that they're working on it, and it just hasn't come to any determination yet. And if I can submit that.
You wouldn't get it back. That's to give to the board. We can't make copies here.
Oh, it's a copy.
Okay.
So. Thank you.
And do you want to expand on that? When did you contact them, or what's going on with them? If there's anything additional to what you just said?
What? You can keep that too.
Thank you.
Maybe within 2 weeks of when I met with you, by the time I got to the right people, they had suggested, and I went in, and they've been helping me ever since. And I had sent a letter of request to give me more time. That's to I think the head of code enforcement, but I haven't heard anything from them since then. I don't know I'm sorry, I don't have the date on that, but it was probably 2 months ago.
Here's the letter.
Can you get some contact with them in some way to see if we can make any progress on this, or are we just considering kicking the can down the road, or what?
They've been really good about keeping me informed, and this letter was from maybe a week ago. Since then, that time, they said that they're just checking on my house, and I don't know completely, but if it was a historic thing or something, they have to check on that. So that's what they were doing most recently.
Because the house is close to downtown Longwood, is that why?
I think it's just one of their criteria that they have to do. No, I'm not in a historic area. It's a new subdivision in the 80s, you know.
Have you spoken to any county agencies or staff about help?
Yeah, I did. I don't know his name. And there was just no money at that time.
But you don't know with whom you spoke?
I could tell you who I spoke to, but it'll take me a while to figure it out on my phone. But
Let me ask you this, because this board's going to have to make a decision here on whether or not to apply the lien. And What would your request be? Sort of, the case is heard, there's a violation, has been fixed, and we just have to make a determination. Are you requesting more time?
I am requesting more time. I had requested that in a letter about 2 months ago. I had requested before.
Yep, so the second document you're seeing is a letter that she sent to the clerk in April, and at the second page of that letter, she's requesting an additional 6 months to come into compliance. And so that just didn't get back onto your agenda. And so it's here before you today, so I would that's your option at this point. Your option is to grant her that request in that letter, which would be an additional 4 months at this time because we're now in June. You can continue the matter. You don't have to file the lien today if you don't want to. I mean, if you think that she's making progress, you could just basically, table this for 4 months or 30 days or 60 days, whatever you choose, and keep checking in to see what progress is being made, to see if she's going to get some relief with this entity that has sent her that letter last week. Filing the lien doesn't mean she can't continue to work towards compliance either. That just simply removes it from this board, and when she does come into compliance, she'd have to go before the BCC to deal with the lien.
And if I'm not incorrect, Ms. Brown, it's going to be $50 a day no matter whether we enter a lien or not. I mean, so just entering a lien is just a formality of turning it from one type of terminology to another. So it isn't going to help her by giving her extensions or tabling it. It's still going to collect $50 a day.
Until she's in
It's just a
compliance.
lien to try to put a little more pressure on her.
And then but it does force her then to have to go to the next step.
Correct.
Yeah. The board.
Correct. Yeah, the lien the fine will continue until she's in compliance.
If she were to try to sell this home, when there's a lien on it, then we know what happens. If there's
No, we don't know what happens,
a
and we
fine.
can't give her any legal advice on that. That's something she'd have to talk to an attorney about what options are available to her if there's a lien against her
If a fine
property.
is accruing, and there isn't a lien, what happens then?
Again, I can't give her legal advice, and so you have to be very careful when you ask me a question about her property. She has to talk to an attorney about what's happening on her property if she chooses to sell her property.
I move that we accept staff recommendation to convert it into a lien.
I'll second that.
I'm sorry, you want to do what?
Accept the staff's recommendation to lien the property. I just made it more complicated than I needed to, yes.
Are we in discussion now?
Yes.
We are. We had a second, right?
Yes.
I would not be in favor of that. I think we have a little grace here, and we should wait to see what this organization's going to do. She's obviously has reached out, is searching for help on this. I would be in favor of waiting for the Rebuild Florida's response.
So you would be in favor of tabling it for?
Yes.
Give it a time period, though.
Actually, I'd like to table it for the additional 4 months that we talked about to make it 6 months. So I'd say October 31st.
But the fines continue.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the fine continues, but the lien would not.
And that's, we
this
have the
point.
motion, that's not the motion. The motion that we
would
have
be-
at this point in time
Right.
is accepting staff's recommendation. Any other discussion?
I'd just like to point out that this has been going, that the type of grass that we see there has been going, this has been going on for years now. This was one of the first cases that I sat in on, so, I understand that there's some action here, but for someone to go and ask for a lien reduction after, especially given who she is, I think that's a slam dunk for her, and so I'm going to support the motion.
Well, I guess we have to, I made it, it's been second, we either have to vote on it, I guess at this point.
We're just discussing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to process this here. Okay.
It's his motion.
Okay.
If it fails, I'll remake one.
It's Mr. Ross's motion, second by Mr. Davis, I believe, to accept staff's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. So the motion passes. Ma'am, that's what we've done.
I'm sorry, but I didn't understand what was happening.
Well, we accepted the recommendation that was presented that was up there in yellow a moment ago,
that right?
which is, it has nothing to do with you to stop trying to fix this. You really need to do that. But what it amounts to is you have until, I didn't write it down. What was the July?
No. Nothing has changed.
Oh, it's
You
on-
keep
I'm sorry.
working towards, is that okay?
Yes.
Is that okay for me to speak for you and just?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing has changed. You keep working towards compliance, okay? You keep letting them know you need this fixed, you need this fixed. As soon as it is in compliance, you reach out to the inspector and have them come and do an inspection, okay? That will shut the fine down, and then they can explain to you the next step to deal with a lien that's been put on your
I
property.
understand.
Okay? All right. Good luck.
Thank you so much, and
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's all the cases we have. There's other cases not heard by the board. Reasons are identified.
So you had 2 cases where respondents were not present, the same person, items 55 and 56, which is pages 3 and
Right.
4. So those are the only 2 cases left.
Oh, I was talking about the ones
Yeah.
that weren't heard by the board.
Right.
They're lit, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do those, don't we?
Yeah,
we
please
sure
do those.
Okay.
Would it be possible for me to move that we take both cases together?
Yes.
Possible?
Yeah.
There's no one here.
Yeah.
I second that.
Okay. We have here case number 24-55 CEB, Mary L. Air Wilcox, and case number 24-56 CEB, Mary L. Air Wilcox. They're both on page 3 and page 4. Officer Adair, I guess this is you again. You're walking up there. Trying to find it. And, yep. Okay, whenever you're going to hear them back to back.
All right. Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-55-CEB. Respondent is Mary L. Wilcox. I'd like to submit a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 9636 McNorton Road, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. Initial inspection was on January 4th, 2024. Notice to respondent was January 11th, 2024 and February 15th, 2024, with compliance dates set for January 29th, 2024 and March 1st, 2024. Follow-up inspections were on February 2nd, 2024, February 14th, 2024, March 1st, 2024, June 14th, 2024, and June 26th, 2024. Results of the follow-up inspection, the rubbish violation remains on property. Excuse me. This is an initial inspection conducted by Officer Bavaro on January 4th, 2024. Depicts the rubbish on the side of the house right there. So it's a follow-up inspection by Officer Bavaro on February 2nd, 2024. The rubbish remains. This is a follow-up inspection conducted by myself on March 1st. It shows the rubbish on the front of the house and on the side. This is the date of posting on June 14th. Not much has changed. And this is the most recent picture yesterday, June 26, 2024. The rubbish remains. The suggested recommendation by the code enforcement officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-55-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Mary L. Wilcox, is the owner of record of the property located at 9636 McNorton Road, located in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of July 11, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove the miscellaneous debris and rubbish from the yard. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Adair before he moves to this second case?
Yeah. I have a question. Can we go back to the slide from yesterday, please?
Yes.
Can you explain to me what this large thing is on the right side photo?
It appears to be a trailer, like a little trailer or camper of some sort.
Okay. And have you had any contact with this homeowner at all?
Only once, and that was on date of posting. He said he's a repeat offender. Officer Bavaro has been out here multiple times for the same thing. He finally decided to bring it to the board's attention.
When you say he, it says Mary, so you spoke to a man?
Correct. I think his name was, he only announced himself as Rogers, so I believe he's the tenant.
Oh, so someone lives here?
Correct.
But we're not hearing this as a repeat, we're hearing it as a new case, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have, I thought I heard you now. Okay, so then, if no other questions, I'll have to move on to the next, okay? Officer Adair, if you can do the next one, which is 24-56 CEB, same respondent, Mary L. Wilcox Air, 9636 McNorton Road, Altamont Springs, 32714. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-56-CEB. Respondent is Mary L. Wilcox. I'd like to give a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 9636 McNorton Road, Seminole County, Florida. The violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. Initial inspection was on January 4th, 2024. Notices to respondent were on January 11th, 2024, and February 15th, 2024. Responding compliance dates were January 29th, 2024, and March 1st, 2024. Follow-up inspections were on February 2nd, February 14th, March 1st, June 14th, and June 26th, 2024. Results of the follow-up inspection, the uncultivated vegetation violation remains on the property. This is an initial inspection photo from Officer Bavaro on January 4th, 2024. This was the only photo provided by him on February 2nd, 2024. It shows a little bit of the grass where the red arrow depicts. This is an image by me on my follow-up inspection, March 1st, 2024. The grass in the backyard remains. This is on date of posting. That should have been the 14th, on June 14th, 2024. And this is the most recent picture from yesterday's inspection, June 26, 2024. It shows the vegetation is growing up to the middle of the trash cans and throughout the yard like that. The suggested recommendation by the Code Enforcement Officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-56-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Mary L. Wilcox, is the owner of record of the property located at 9636 McNorton Road, located in Seminole County as determined by the property appraiser records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of July 11th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all uncultivated vegetation over 8 inches in height. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Adair on this case?
I have two quick ones. I'm assuming the Wilcox heir means she inherited the property, or is that her legal name?
Inherited.
Okay, that answers a couple of things. And you have not spoken with the person who's the record owner? Just the tenant?
Neither me nor Vinny has been in contact with her. We've only dealt with the tenant.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
I'll move that we accept the recommendation of staff for both 24-55 and 24-56 with the fines recommended by staff.
I second.
Okay, is there a need for anybody, everybody good with that motion as far, instead of splitting the two, okay? So just for the record, I will read them separately. Let me find it. Case number 24-55 CEB, that particular case, the motion, I'm sorry, where were we at? Motion by Mr. Simon, second by Mr. Ross. On that particular case, compliance date, July 11th, 2024, or the fine will start at $100 a day. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carries. The case number 24-56 CEB, same respondent, same address. The motion on that one is the same compliance date, July 11th, 2024, or a $50 per day fine on that one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it takes care of it. I think we're at the end now. Try this again. Cases not heard, beginning on page 7. They're there for your reading if you would like. Approval of the minutes of May 23rd. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Townsend, second by Mr. Bates to approve the minutes from the May 23rd, 2024 meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay, no, I'm just being funny.
Yeah. Confirmation, next meeting date, July 25th. It should be 2024. If you have any issues with that date, let the clerk know. Any new business anybody can think of that we may have? No?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Bates, second by Mr. Simon, third by Mr. Ross, fourth by...
I had said earlier.
And that concludes our hearing. Thank you.
I had said earlier.